It's that time of the day for you to get comfy, kick back, relax. You are now lounging with the Pearls. Hi, loungers. Welcome back to our show, Lounging with the Pearls. I am Candice.
And I'm Garth.
And you are?
Lounging with the Pearls.
We just want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our YouTube channel. Oh my word, how awesome was that? One of our videos is over 300 views.
Wow, I still can't believe it.
I know.
But thank you so much for supporting us as a local couple, and it means a lot to us.
Yeah,
definitely it does.
So surreal, and I love all the comments. We are going to get to replying to the comments very, very soon. It's just a little bit busy in the Lounging with the Pearls world right now, but we are just really, really thankful for each and every one. Like, for every view, for every share. We really appreciate it. And today we have a special organization in studio with us.
Wow.
I was introduced to this organization through you, Mr. F.
Ja, en ek is maar ruimklets oukie.
Yeah.
Know? So that was a bit sidetracked for me. But I mean, it was a good sidetrack because when I clicked onto the page and then I could see these guys really doing what I would say that no one else is basically doing, or assisting or helping, and I think that brought me closer to the page. And I was going through it, and it's, okay, this guy is working with kids, and that is one of the biggest problems that we do have, when it comes to discipline, our kids reading, literature, education.
Yes.
And that's a scary part about parents having to handle that.
So true. And we don't even have kids.
We don't even
How
have
funny is
kids.
that you were...
That I came across the page, yes.
Yeah. So today we have Cheryl and Thomas, and we also have Colleen Diedricks in studio. They are from Wordworks. And between them, you guys have about over almost 60 years experience.
Sure.
Yes. And not a grey hair in sight. I love that.
That is all they don't worry, Tina.
Tell us more about yourselves.
Okay, I'm Colleen, as you said. I've been working at Wordworks for the past 5 years, but before that, I was a teacher. I mean, we all start as teachers in the Wordworks world.
Okay.
Most of us. So I was a teacher, and I actually wanted to teach at this primary school I went to. And that was Norma Road Primary in Silvertown. So I loved my years there. And so I went to do the teacher's course at the Old Hewitt College. And of course then went back to Norma Road to teach as a teacher, which I did for 15 years. And you come to a place in your life and you think, I need to do something more. And then I applied for the head of department post in Grassy Park at Sir G. Rule Primary. And I taught at Sir G. Rule Primary as the head of department in foundation phase for 8 years.
Okay.
And then the department asked for me to be seconded, as an advisor, because they needed someone to support schools. And I went as an advisor, just like, that was temporary, but it became permanent. And so I worked there as an advisor at Metro South Education District in foundation phase for another about 8 years, I think. And then I decided, you get to a crossroads in your life and you think, okay, so what's next now? I still love education and want to still do. And I went to work at the Reed Education Trust. Okay. And then the project ended here. We were supporting schools with language. And so the project ended, and then I worked at UCT in the school development unit just for about 6 months until I applied to Wordworks. And so the type of work is all very similar, in education. But, it's just targeting different groups of people and so on. So,
okay. And yourself?
I have 2 children, and I've just become a grandmother.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, my granddaughter, I have 2 daughters, Melissa and Kirsty. So Sophia, the granddaughter, is now going to be 6 months.
Aww.
And while I was driving here, her books are in my boot. and the one book was kept singing. Kept singing, and it was Rock My Baby, and Incy Wincy Spider was playing. I thought, oh my gosh, people must think I'm crazy, but every time I fell on the book started singing. So yeah, so I have a Sophia, and I'm watching Sophia's milestones, because that's the work we do, and I'm trying to do as a grandmother what we're sharing with parents and caregivers at the moment. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet.
That's nice.
And yourself, Cheryl?
Okay, my teaching experience also ranges back all the way to Gauteng. I'm originally from Gauteng.
Okay.
And about 23 years ago, my husband and I had the opportunity to move to Cape Town, and his boss offered him a job there, and he said, no, all our family are in Joburg. Why must we move? And I said, are you mad? Our girls love the sea. We've got 2 daughters now. We want to go to the sea. And I think we were the first of our family that moved away from, the community that we've grown up in Indonesia. And it was like a big thing for us. They actually go into Cape Town. It's so far away.
Yeah.
But it was the best thing we could have done for our family. I've got 2 daughters, big girls. The one is... she's going to be 32 this year, and the baby's 30 this year, and the eldest is 33. She's my baby's in Germany at the moment. She moved to Germany, and then a while back I was afforded the opportunity to adopt my nephew. His mum wasn't well. It's my brother's little boy, and they needed some help, and he's in matric this year, so I'm a matric mummy this year, so you can see the yes. And I've my experience as well started out of teaching, and anyone asks me, what do you do? I say, I'm a teacher. I'll always be a teacher. And I worked in Manenberg, Hout Bay, and eventually I got a post in Ocean View, and that's where I met Colleen. Okay. And I was working with her, and she seconded me to subject advisor in the department. I also did a little work with another NGO for a while. It's called Saley.
Okay.
And then last year I found myself in a personal predicament where I needed to care for my sick husband, and I decided, okay, I was going to resign from teaching. From working in the department and stay home and be with him. And he unfortunately passed away, but Colleen was like a pillar of strength, and she said, you're retired, but you're not ready to stay at home and do nothing. So just join us on a part-time basis and see what. And I'm in Wordworks, hook, line and sinker.
So you're very new to Wordworks.
I just started, yes. It's a year. I started in January. So,
okay.
It's
nice.
very exciting for me, and loving what I'm doing and loving the people I'm working with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't even do the intro. So Wordworks is actually a non-profit organization that deals with early child development and literacy, mathematics, and so forth. And the importance of Wordworks and why Wordworks existed is so that there is an emphasis of what's the word I'm trying to get now? There's an emphasis of development from birth to the first 8 years of a child's life.
Yeah.
And Wordworks is in existence since 2005, and your director is Shelley.
Dr. Cheryl O'Carroll.
She's also done quite a few lectures, and she's also done a few writings and things. So tell us about what Wordworks does, specifically for early child development.
Okay, so Dr. Cheryl O'Carroll, as you said, she did all her research for a doctorate on early childhood development, and our focus as Wordworks is mainly emergent early literacy.
Okay.
And so all the programs that Cheryl will probably refer to later is based on her research, and all the programs have been written by Wordworks themselves, like everyone within Wordworks. So it's not outside programs we use, it's our own programs.
It's completely South African.
Yeah,
in other
definitely.
words.
Okay.
Context-based and so on. So I don't know if you want us to talk about the actual programs now that we have.
Yes, no, go for it, yeah.
The funny thing I just want to add is that it just shows you how life, the circle of life is. So when Shelley was studying her doctorate at the time I was teaching at Oranje Kloof Primary School in Hout Bay, and she needed schools to visit to work with the children. And she approached my principal, and he said, okay, go and sit in Cheryl's class. Little did I know that many years later, Shelley would be my director today. So she sat in my class and watched what I did and how I did it and spoke to me about it. And I was like, but I know Shelley. And Shelley went, but I know you too. You know? Education, everything goes full circle.
Yeah, and there's an emphasis on children from disadvantaged communities. Why does Wordworks highlight the children from disadvantaged communities?
Well, you know, we know about the inequalities of the past. I mean, we come from those backgrounds where we never had the opportunities that, you know, during the apartheid years that others had. So this lack of opportunity in these communities also, you know, we know there's a lack of support and lack of, I mean, we will speak about maybe, you know, why it's so important for that first 8 years. And we know the children who fall in that bracket, you know, not necessarily have access to good programs and so on. So Wordworks has decided that this cycle should not be perpetuated, you know, that we understand these contextual factors and we want to stop that cycle of poverty, you know, where we can give children birth to 8 years old a solid foundation with good ECD programs so that they have a better chance in life. You know, so basically, I think that's where we are.
Yeah, because you know, children go to school and the teacher teaches, and you know, how does one teacher deal with over 40 children? Obviously, there's going to be a bit of a slip up, you know, like one child needs a little bit more attention. And I think that is where Wordworks comes in, right? You know?
Yeah. I think if I could maybe break down for you exactly how Wordworks programs work.
Yes, please.
We've got a variety of components of the Wordworks. So our first one is called the Every Word Counts.
Okay.
And that is from, I mean, we say 0 to 5 years, but it's actually from pregnancy. So we target our parents from pregnancy, where we encourage them to play music to the child, to sing, to massage your belly and have soothing, relaxing time. So that's our Every Word Counts program. It's home visits and it's developing the child's language before the child can even understand it, looking at the child, looking at the face, forming words, not like we used to, no, and back in the day.
Yeah. And the wow. The wow.
Where does the wow come in? I don't know. I still don't understand.
Okay.
Just to say before we go on, children do babble, and we encourage that babbling.
Okay.
We encourage that,
Yes.
you know, all the pretend stuff, because all that journey to learning is with
the babbling comes.
So they'll go whoa, and we'll say, yes, that's a dog. That's a dog.
Yeah.
But not say, no, don't say whoa, that's a dog.
Yeah.
So, yes, whoa, it's a dog.
Dog,
you
yes.
know? And then the other program we work with is from 4 years old, which is our Little Stars program. And this again, building the child. So we do work a little bit with mathematics and the life skills. The life skills comes in incidentally all the time, and the mathematics incidentally. But our focus is working on building a strong language foundation for the child. Because if their language is sound and it builds their confidence and builds them to want to speak and give them the ability to nurture their speaking. Then we also have a Stellar program. The Stellar program. The Stellar program is where we work with grade R children specifically, and it's a set out program. It's based on a story, so everything that the child does is story based. So it's a cycle of the story, and we try and get the children to identify with the characters in the story, and
And then the story will have an end, so they will also be engaged, but learning at the same time.
At the same time, so it's like we try and make it so incidental, where they enact in, and then we have the whole school partnership program, which is what Colleen and I work most of the time with, and the homeschool partnership program is where we train teachers and learning support teachers on an 8-week program where they in turn invite parents, caregivers, and these parents and caregivers are taught how to teach the children at home, but in an informal way.
Okay.
So it's not like, okay, we are now going to do homeschool. It's going to do, while we're walking home from school, what are we going to do? We're going to walk down the road. How many children are walking in front of us? How come you came out so late? Let's have a little discussion about it. You're looking a little sad today. Did something happen in school? I mean, most parents' first question is, how was your day? Fine.
Yes.
What did you do in maths?
Yes.
Work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to your room.
Yeah.
Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, we try, in our facilitation workshops, we try to get parents to understand how to ask questions, how to probe the children, how to take notice of the world around them. We walk in, you see that number is number 12, but the one across is number 13. Why isn't 13 next door? Why is it across? So incidentally, mentioning things like that. 3 white cars went past and then 1 red car. Why do you think there were 3 white cars and 1 red car?
Yeah.
So maybe it's easier to make a white car than a red car. Little things that parents can spark conversation with their children. Whereas, gaan bad, gaan slaap, gaan doen jou huiswerk,
Wow.
go play outside, little phrases. You're always saying, come on, it's time to go and bath. Let's go and run the tap ourselves.
Yeah.
Careful, it shouldn't be too hot. We're going to make lots of bubbles with the soap in our hands, blow the bubbles. What happens? Why do you think the bubbles are floating if we blow it? And there you're bringing in education. The bubbles are lighter and our hot air is pushing it up. So things like that, where parents do know it and they can do it. They need not be educated. But that is what the homeschool program does. Colleen, I overemphasize the homeschool program
Yes,
there.
I should say before Cheryl goes on, that those examples that she's citing now is, because she and I work mainly on the homeschool partnership
Yes,
program.
yeah.
So the other programs we support, but as Cheryl was saying, those examples actually fit all our programs.
Yes.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It fits in all our programs. Some of our programs, like Cheryl was saying, and she'll finish the other 2 that we haven't mentioned yet, are informal learning in the home, and then there are at least 2 of the programs that are more structured teaching, classroom for teachers, in-service training for teachers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we have all these programs,
But
right?
before you go on, did
Okay.
Cheryl
Let me just
talk
finish
about the
because
last
then
2 programs? So that
Okay.
the last 2 are very important to us. Then we have the Ready, Steady, Read and Write program. That is where many of the parents that go through the homeschool program then become our tutors. And they go into the schools when they have time and they work with a pair of children.
That is awesome.
And they do it on a completely voluntary basis, not being paid or anything. So we train them how to work with a pair of children, one-on-one, and generally the teachers refer the children to us. Sometimes it's children that just have behavior problems. They just need that little attention. Sometimes it's children that genuinely, you ask the question about 40, 50 children in a class.
Yeah.
This is how we're trying to address that problem. And then our final program that we're all extremely passionate about right now because it's spread its wings and really fly.
Our newest program.
Yeah, our newest program is called the TIME program, Together in My Learning.
My Education.
In My Education,
That's
sorry.
the acronym.
TIME.
Oh, okay.
The
Together
acronym is
in
TIME,
my-
Together in My Education.
Okay.
And it started out last year when COVID started. We realized teachers didn't know how to tell the parents what to do. And then we eventually built it up into a formal program. And what the fantastic thing about the program is that the other NGOs that came on board, our, what do you call them?
Our partners?
Our partners, the partners that came on board and said, wow, you guys are doing this, let's do it together. And I think the department won't be so excited for me to say this, but there was always this thing about the department has a place and an NGO has a place, a non-government or non-profit organization. But we have seen the the education department realizing that we are one. We need to do it together. We
Together,
cannot
yes.
do it alone.
Yeah.
And the education department has bought into this program so much. They're supporting the program. So as a result, all the NGOs, we're trying to get everybody. And there's regular meetings it used to be every week, then it's every 2 weeks. And the program is just flying, taking off right now. So its material is supplied to every grade R and grade 1 child in every school, in every community, for free. And they take it home, and it's just not, the materials there, use it. We guide them, we show them how to use it. We're going to discuss a little further about how we're going to send voice notes, and through our data-free website. We've linked up with Moya website, which is also a data-free website. So the time program has flown and really taken off. And we're very excited about that one.
I must add that the materials were written by Wordworks, the literacy, mainly the literacy section, and then the maths by Red Ink and the school development unit at UCT. So, as Cheryl said, it's not only literacy, but it is actually literacy, mathematics, and life skills integrated into it. So the child gets a holistic program. So that program is to, as we said, focused on grade R and grade 1 learners, because that's the foundation at the schools. And then the parents will get a structured activity, 5 activities across the week to do with their child. Spend 20 to 30 minutes with your child, but they will get exactly what to do. So the teachers obviously send home their normal homework. But added support. To add, and as Cheryl was saying, it's also a partnership with WCED. There is a forum that has been developed with WCED and the NGOs, which is called the At Home Learning Forum. So that is why it's actually, it's not just, it's a lovely combination of all partners to support the communities.
Yeah, because like you said, the teachers give the homework, and that is the schoolwork. But now, that child that needs that little extra, now they're getting a package from Wordworks, and that's actually going to support the teacher and the child. This is such a
and it is also in line
program.
it's also in line with CAPS and in line with what the school's expectations of the child is. So it's not going to be, we need to do schoolwork, we need to do Wordworks. They complement each other to build in the child's skills and development and confidence.
So we spoke about the poverty and the reason behind Wordworks, and why we want access to good ECD early childhood development programs for all children, not only some children. So we know that in our country, and our director just sent us a bit of research reading. She always puts on our group things to read, and I was reading. They said that, now with COVID, there's only 31% of children who have access to good foundation ECD programs. And that's like less than half of the children, and most of those children are in our impoverished, disadvantaged areas. We also know, and through no fault of parents, that there's, some belief systems, and I don't say it abruptly like neglect. Some parents feel that, yes, it is my duty as a parent to clothe my child, to feed my child, to provide shelter, but it's the school's responsibility to educate. And so we that's another cycle we're breaking through all of our programs, and parents are coming on board. Cheryl said all schools. We don't work in all schools. We work in schools that's within our network, because obviously budget-wise, we cannot work across every school in the Western Cape. But we do have over 200 schools that we work in, and that's just with the homeschool partnership program and time, as Cheryl was speaking about. But we work across communities and work across other NGOs and of course ECD sites. So we want to make sure that child has that social emotional stability that they need by trying to break this whole cycle and give children a good chance in life from birth to 8 years old, as you said. So that one barrier of poverty is something we're trying to address.
And then there's still crime.
And then I wanted to say, yes, the whole thing of lack of access and limited resources results in a child not being having that access, so they don't have the foundation to go further. Because when they have a good, solid foundation in that first 8 years, then they become more confident. They stand a better chance at school, you know, and they stand a better chance of going to tertiary education, and they stand a better chance of becoming something. So that whole reason is why we want to give this foundation to the children. And the other barriers, as you were saying, that grade R is not a compulsory grade yet. You know, that's the sad thing. It's official.
Not compulsory?
It's
I thought
official.
it was
I
compulsory.
also thought so.
It's official grade. This compulsory, I mean, just now, during the COVID times, our president spoke about grade R and pre-grade R becoming compulsory grades. Now, the reason why I say it's not compulsory yet, I remember when I started when I was teaching, they said 2005 was the year it's going to be compulsory. Then 2010, and that goalpost keeps shifting. So, and historically, I can't give you enough information about it, but to say that because grade R is, it's official. I mean, it's official. I mean, we have grade R programs. The schools have grade R, but not enough.
Okay.
And grade R has become so expensive because in many schools they don't get subsidies as they do for matric, as an example.
Okay.
I mean, you see with matrics, there's all this support, winter school, summer school, spring, lots of money go in. It's too late.
Yeah.
We need the subsidies. You know, that what's given to a grade birth to 5 years, as an example, is so much less than what's given to children from, you know, when they're in school, 7 years up to 16, 17 years old. So the classes in grade R, like, it's a maximum of 30 children in a class.
Okay.
But schools can only afford so many classes, you know, because they need the space for the other classes.
Yes.
So then class sizes increase after that, because now you have to take children who haven't had the opportunity of grade R also into grade 1.
Wow.
You know, and some children come to grade 1 without having any formal foundation or any preparation.
Yes.
So there's a huge gap, and the children are already disadvantaged because now they have to catch up.
Yeah,
You know?
and then they start, I mean, and it depends on also who's in the class, and then they fall behind.
Yes.
And then maybe you don't have, maybe this is the wrong thing to say, but I mean, it happens. A teacher that is not sensitive to that child because they weren't prepared, they didn't come through grade R. So now that teacher maybe just puts you one side, you know, because now we need to deal with this. So it's
So the teachers have their hands
sad,
full. I really
No, I
feel, I
know.
mean, we've been there. We've been there, both Cheryl and I. So we understand the situation.
I
you know.
volunteered for one day at, I think it was 2 days at Plantation Primary. If I must volunteer now, I will kill a child.
Yes.
The problem is there's a group, especially in grade 1, so there's a group of learners, let's take 30 kids. Of the 30 kids, perhaps 15 of them had formal training in grade R, and the other 15 have not. They come straight from home. And they already, the teachers now already, before even starting to think of learning barriers or concentration, which is a big thing in the underprivileged communities, the concentration, because they don't have that quiet time at all. So the children already come in with a disadvantage, and the teachers already placed in a situation where you can't say, okay, you went to grade R, you didn't go to grade R, split the class. You try, you know, we try not to do things like that.
Shame, and the grade 1 teachers have to do, the baseline that they have to do is much simpler if the child has had that foundation for grade R. Now then the child's ready to start grade 1, but they sit with groups of children, big classes, up to 40. I mean, we've worked in all of the community schools. And so they sit with big classes, and then there are children who are able to identify colours or numbers, and they are, because the grade R syllabus is quite, it's through play, it's all through play, but it's very structured. So they learn a whole lot. And as Cheryl was saying, our Stellar program is a grade R language program for class teachers. It's actually the content of CAPS, which is the curriculum and assessment policy statement. That's what it stands for. So yes, the poor teachers. I mean, I really feel for teachers because, you know, we expect miracles, and there's only so much time in a day. But that is the reason why we're saying, you know, if our government, not to become political, can actually focus on those early years. From conception.
Let's just say if government can focus on education, we won't have
Period.
problems that
Yeah.
we have, society problems that we have today. But let's take a nice break. Let's play some music and let our guests just wet their throats a little.
Okay, thank you.
You know it's all about the raw culture, the language, the traditional food, the feeling of family, combined with the positive podcast show. You are lounging with the Permals.
Hi, loungers. Welcome back to our podcast. We are in studio with Wordworks, and they are a South African non-profit organization that focuses on early language and literacy development in the first 8 years of children's lives. And they have been in existence since 2005. And with us, we have Cheryl and Thomas and Colleen Diedricks. Ladies, so far it's been a wonderful chat. I've learned so much, We ended off talking about the barriers that children face, and it is unfortunately so sad that children are being brought up in a world that maybe they just don't have the support, and nobody knows this about me. I shared it with my husband. We know when we met actually a long time ago. I made the decision to terminate the pregnancy because even though I was working, I had a good job. I was mostly scared of my mommy telling her that I was pregnant, but I knew I wasn't in a position to have this child, to bring this child up in the world, and I wasn't prepared for this child. I didn't want to run after the baby daddy for money, first of all, and I knew that this was a responsibility, man. This little person that is growing in my belly, I still needed to grow, man. So how am I gonna mature with a child? And I think that parents need to understand that they have a responsibility when bringing a child up in this world, that it's not just financial responsibility, but also that child needs to become a whole person, and with that is early development. Reading to your child, you mentioned, while the child is in your belly, singing to the child so the child knows the mommy's voice. And we spoke about wow and dog. I always used to irk me, man. Why are we talking baby talk with children, And then you gave a good example of don't say wow. Yes, that's a nice dog. So now the child will always have that connection. Wow is actually dog.
A dog, yeah.
So I want to talk about adult responsibility. What can adults or young mothers or fathers even, they may be, excited. They don't come out of the best circumstance, but now they've heard about Wordworks. Now, how do they, and you guys have free programs or free things
Website.
on your
Resources.
resources on your website. So now Garth wants to know what can I do? So how can adults take more responsibility with a child? Do they contact Wordworks? Do they just go on the website? Tell us about that.
Before we actually just answer that question, Candice, I just want to say thank you for sharing your experience. I mean, it's not easy to talk about something like that.
No, it's my pleasure.
And also, I mean, it's a decision you made because you needed the support at the time. And you want to say to other mothers out there that, when they decide, I mean, obviously that was the right decision for you at the time because of your circumstances and the context you found yourselves in. So when a parent conceives, I mean, that from then to about 2 years old, we talk about in Wordworks the first 1,000 days.
Okay.
And how much development we want parents to know if they're having this child, and that from that time that the child is conceived to the time that child is about 2 years old, that development that takes place, there's so much that happens. And as a parent, so what can you do to support that development, both physically and then cognitively as well, for your child? And there's lots parents can do very simple things. And then also just to highlight, before I forget to say it, that 90% of a child's brain is developed by the time they're 5 years old. And I think if we don't catch it in time, there are huge gaps. So as parents, I mean, the child may not be at an ECD center. Maybe the parent cannot afford to send a child because, as you said, it's quite expensive sending children to ECD centers. And so there's lots that the parent can actually do to support that child's learning so that before the child reaches 5, before the child reaches 8, or even in that 1,000 days, there's simple, easy things for parents to do. And I don't know, Cheryl, if you were going to talk to that?
We were talking about the resources available to us. But I was going to say, before the parent even considers going near resources, or the first thing they need to be told and they need to understand is that they are their child's first teacher.
Yes.
Everything they do, everything they say, and how they do it and how they say it impacts on the child. And it's going to be a reaction that the child is. If somebody bumps a parent and they go, "Oh, excuse me," or if they're going to say, "Hey,"
Of that's honest.
The reaction is like, I'll give you a perfect example of us in a little grade art class. And they have free time where they go to each corner and they do whatever they do, and it's like playtime, free play, and they act and they dramatize. So these little ladies were dramatizing a tea party.
Okay.
So I walked around a bit and I decided, I'm joining this tea party. But it was like, and I sat down at this tea party and I got offered tea and eventually I just thought, okay, Cheryl, what are you going to do? And I went, ladies, in a very soft, gentle voice. And I said, this tea party is so exciting. And I said, but let's talk softer. Let's look at each other when we're speaking and let's offer each other a biscuit and a cup of tea. And you tell me what happened when you went to Checkers. And I mean, she was saying, to a Checkers to gaan. You tell me when you went to Checkers. And what happened with the dog So I gently, I let them continue their conversation. But I kind of toned it down and gave everyone, so where they need to learn, to have a chance to talk, to listen to others, to make eye contact, to offer the tea to your colleague, to your friend. And I mean, it worked out perfectly. It was beautiful. We had a wonderful tea party. And then when I was driving out of the school, the gate opened and I just heard this commotion outside the school gate. It was like in one of our, I won't say where it was, but it was like, and I thought, oh my gosh, is there problems again? Because we've been made very aware of the gangsterism. And so for our own safety and the safety of the children. And I looked around and it was the grade R mummies and dads that had come to fetch their kiddies. They were having a lacquer conversation, no fighting, no conflict, nothing. They were just collecting their children and having a very jolly conversation. And this is what the children were emulating. So the parents, they were lovely parents. They wanted their children there and they wanted to improve their children's lives. But the way they were doing it is what the children emulated. So that was a school where I said we really need the homeschool program, where we can say to the parents, how are you standing outside chatting to your colleagues, your friends, your neighbor? That's how the children are going to see it.
Yes, yesterday we went to Cheryl and there was this girl and this boy and the girl is like, yeah, Jay, come here so. And I'm like, okay, I was watching. Then the adults, I don't know if this is the parent
probably.
or who, I don't know, but then she put her order in and then the little boy ran away and then she was like, come here so Jay. And I knew that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
But we talk to the parents about good talking time. So what does it mean? What does good talking time mean with your child? And we talk about conversations and letting the child have a turn to speak. We always say conversational turn. So it's not just the child listening or like we say, barking instructions at the child. It's about taking turns to speak. And and asking good questions, open-ended questions. Not just did you have a lunch today? Or like it's like our school today. How did you feel when that happened? what do you think you should have said, and so on. So we teach parents how to actually have that conversation with their child, how to ask questions with their child, how to support them, you know. And everything is about loving and trusting relationships. So we our parents, and I'm not saying all parents, but haven't experienced that love in their own families when they were growing up. So we also do with them, like, what in your when you were a child was your experience, and you don't want to continue that with your child. You know, so it's a very emotional session that we have with parents, because then they reflect on their own experience as children and what happened in their families, how their parents spoke to them, what they did that they didn't enjoy. And they say, no, we're going to stop this. We're not going to do that with our child, but there were good things that happened as a child, so we want to continue doing that. You know?
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
too many chores. No, we're not going to do that. Maybe we weren't allowed to ask questions. No, we're not going to do that. But we were allowed to do certain things that we loved, reading stories, telling stories, and so on.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that kind of thing with parents, but as I said earlier, it's always in a kind and loving relationship. We want parents to say, well done, you know, try again, you know, I love the way you've done that, you know, not to say to them, no, you can't do this, and be negative. We want them to encourage them all the time, because that's how children learn.
Yeah,
And
through
there's one
encouragement.
section in our homeschool partnership program that we do called the Circle of Courage in our first session, which is on parenting. And that Circle of Courage is always telling the child, you know, how parents can make children feel that sense of belonging. You know, I'm loved, I belong here, you know, I'm nurtured, and the child feels part of this whole family, rather than go to a gang afterwards,
Yes.
to feel that sense of belonging.
Yeah, yeah.
And that whole generosity, like, you know, I show kindness because I get kindness.
Yes.
I show appreciation because I receive appreciation.
Yes.
You know, show empathy because, and so how do our parents do this? So this is how we help our parents, and eventually, you know, we want that independent child. You know, independent child can make the right choices. They can make the right choice not to move to gangsterism. I'm rather going to, I mean, we all grew up, I mean, many of us grew up in areas disadvantaged, but we made certain choices in our lives because our parents, who are, as Cheryl mentioned, our first teachers,
Yes.
guided us. We didn't need money. You
Yeah.
didn't need a lot of resources in the homes. You just needed that kind of support for your child, love, sense of belonging, helping them. And when we talk about mastery, you know, guiding them to do things, not just doing it for them, but showing them how to do things, and then helping that child become actually independent.
Yeah.
So all of these things encompasses what we share with parents. When it's not only just about the literacy, but obviously the literacy comes in, but we do it all very naturally. You know? Very naturally. We don't make it seem like, oh, this is a big thing to do.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
No, of course. And like the resources are free, so they go onto the website. Is there a navigation tool where it says, okay, if your child is between this age and that age, is that on the on the website?
Yeah. So our website is Wordworks, www.wordworks.org.za.
Okay.
And Wordworks, people, there's so many other Wordworks on Google.
Oh.
So it's Wordworks, like W with capital, and it's one word.
Okay.
Word and works.
Okay.
So it's W-O-R-D, W-O-R-K-S. So www.wordworks.org.za. And then on our website, it will take you to, you know, if you just go there, it will take you to all our programs, which Cheryl
It's
just
very easy to
explained.
navigate.
Yes, it
Very,
will also
very
take
easy.
you to how to sign up for our programs. It will have free downloads, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can download whatever they want free, stories, you know, access to games, and we have lots of literacy games. Children play these games not even knowing they're learning. So it's games like letter and sounds. You know,
Yeah.
so they will throw a dice and they'll fall on the s, and then they have to find the picture of snake.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you know, or an alphabet game where they must identify the sounds and say, oh, so mommy's name is Candace. What does it start with? K, K. Oh,
Yeah.
where's the K? Oh, there.
Oh,
K.
there.
Do you know other words that start with K? So it's a lot of games we play with literacy. So besides the on the website, we also have a home literacy page, which is data free.
Okay.
So that is which is stand for Wordworks. So it's two W's. www.homeliteracy.org.za. wordworks.org.za. So when you go to the home literacy page, that is free, data free. Okay, so there you will see at-home learning activities that parents can do with their children. You'll find the time home learning program together in My Education. You'll find that whole time home learning program there. It will be the orientation, it will be the all the materials that we provide to our Word Network schools. It will be activities, show you the actual activities that the parents can do. So even though you may not be one of the schools in our current Word Network, you can download that.
Awesome.
Or you can sign up, and maybe get, it costs for per child, it costs between 10 and 12 Rand 50 per term for the child, like 52 Rand, I think, for the year.
For the year.
Wow.
Yes.
So if you get a sponsor, or donor, if your school is not one of our schools receiving those free resources. We also have NGOs and organizations who have sponsored schools. They're sponsoring schools they work with. So it's really growing.
Wow.
And so so currently we're delivering it now to the district offices and to the schools, and the education department will see that the schools receive these resources. But as we said, on our website, on our home literacy page, you can get all that information.
So I shared my story earlier on, and I was obviously overwhelmed, and I didn't think that, I would give my child the best education. So now for parents that are maybe in a similar mindset, there's actually no, they don't have to feel alone. There is an organization, there are organizations that are there to assist you. You don't have to feel like, oh my word, like this child, I won't be able to give the best. You actually can give your child the best. I mean, that was my story over 15 years ago. But now, parents have the peace knowing that there is an organization like Wordworks.
There is something out there to help them.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're prepared to bring a child into this world, it's your responsibility as a parent to, as we said, if your child doesn't get that support in the first 8 years of their life from the home, if they don't have access to ECD centers from the home, then the child is going to have a huge gap. And as parents, there is going to be no excuse.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities, as you mentioned, are out there. And I don't know if we also have a data-free app.
Yes, I was going to talk about that, with COVID and all that. I'm sure COVID also hampered your guys' going out to the one-on-ones, But then an app, you guys have an app that you can also download, and all the resources and things are on there.
Yeah, the
that
app's
is so
amazing.
awesome.
It's got a daily activity that you just click on in any language, English, Afrikaans, is it Xhosa, and I think there's some is Zulu.
Wow.
And it can be a story that's read to the child, and you listen to the story. It can be a sing-along song, teaching them a rhyme. It can tell you how to guide your child to do a little drawing.
Because Wordworks has to keep up with the times. I mean,
But the app is coming on
kids
for many years.
nowadays have all have tablets and stuff like that. I know you guys are very much about literacy and things, but now you can even do that on your app.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very much about books.
Yes, yes.
But look, we can't compete.
No,
The
but
digital
the
age.
app does provide, just to say quickly more about the app, it does provide the opportunity of birth to 2 years. So if you download the app from Google Play Store,
Okay.
Wordworks app, and that was, so birth to 2 years, you choose. So do I want birth to 2 years, because that's where my child is?
Okay.
Or do I want 3 to 5 years, because that's where my child is?
Yeah.
And then it gives you a whole lot of ECD sites, and you can choose where your child is at. If it's not, you can add it. And then, as Cheryl was saying, there's lots of stories you can read to your child. There's opportunities. Every day they get a message, that you can either listen to, or you can read it if you're in the taxi. So it gives you an option of audio or text.
Wow.
Okay.
And every Friday they get an inspirational message. And also it's tracked, so you get feedback as a parent.
So you're
Also.
not alone at all.
No, parents are
No matter
never
where you
alone.
are.
They just need to reach out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I read in one of your briefings, it is much easier, it's more cost effective to, wait, let me find it, because it's actually, Okay, it's more costly to help children catch up later on than it is to prevent them from falling behind in the first place.
Yeah.
And that is what Wordworks is all about. It's this organization put in place so that we can develop good adults for the future.
Yeah.
Good children for the future.
Yeah, we spoke about earlier, you're talking about actually the individual child, speaking about the society, speaking about our economy, foundation for that child, impact not only the child, but our communities, our society, our economy, and all of that. So that's what I'm saying, as government, we need to look to the young child. So that our economy, that child will be confident, that child will want to improve, that parent will want more for their child, they'll go to tertiary institutions, they will get good jobs, they will feed back into the economy. So
and also because that child's brain is now developed in a positive way, not a negative way. Ladies, is there anything else that you want to share with us? I mean, I think we've covered...
I think Cheryl wanted to speak about our fact that we're moving to digital, like you said, besides that.
Yes.
Now, I was saying, we can't deny the fact that many of us, I'm still a book person, I like the touch and the feel and the smell of book.
Yes.
But we can't deny the fact that it's a modern society, and irrespective of what impoverished community we come from, everybody has a cell phone.
Yes.
Data is, however, very expensive, so that is why Wordworks have got this data-free opportunity for the parents. So we need to be realistic about that. And
is the app also data-free?
The app, you just need some data to download the app, but then everything is offline after that.
So there's no excuse.
Whoa,
So every
that
day-
is
So you don't have an
awesome.
excuse.
And our home
Yeah.
literacy page is also data-free.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
for me, the thing is, we need to maybe use the phone or the app to spark their child's interest, and then later on say, oh, look, there's a book. Remember we heard the story about that. So with us, it used to be the other way. I used to always want to first read a book and then maybe watch the movie. So we're trying to kind of
Same.
reverse the roles and say, oh, that was a fun story. Now let's go to the library and see if we can find something similar. So use the two in conjunction, because that's the only way we're going to grip the children.
and also that's also the reason why our materials, our time materials especially, are hard copies, because we know parents don't have data, so for this structured grade all-in-one program, we're giving the paper hard copies to the parents. We're printing, it's color, it's beautiful, all those games are in color. So the child will get it, because we know in many communities, and even the teachers don't have that data to forward things to parents. So we give them the hard copies, and then, as Cheryl referred to earlier, we have the Moya messaging that we're using. If you download Moya, you can also go and check it from your Play Store. So the Moya messaging is completely data-free. And so we have been talking a lot to the Moya people, where we will give the parents the links. So they got the hard copy, but so this is how you read a story to your child.
Okay.
And then we'll send them the link via Moya to watch the video of someone doing the story with the child. Or there's the games we give them in the time materials, and they will then get the link to someone playing a game with the child. So they get the hard copy. The parents get a poster that explains all the 5 activities, the big picture. And then they get per week. So they get for the whole term. So they get per week. So day 1, this is what you do. Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And spend 20 to 30 minutes with the child doing that. Doesn't matter what you do, but you start first with the day 1, the stories and the reading. So we have reading a story, or we have a little book where you can fold the book and you together with your child to make a story, or we have a poster that you actually ask the questions from. So it's language, emergent literacy, early literacy, grade R1, and then also the maths, and like we said, the life skills. But that's paper-based.
So you guys are actually making working moms, working dads' lives easier, because now they don't have to feel guilty about, now I must spend time with little Johnny while I'm making food, and what must I say to him?
I think making food is a typical example of the informalness of it, because I remember myself as a mother cooking, and my daughter came in and she said, Mom, and I said, oh, please, I deal with grade 3s the whole day, leave me alone. But I've now learned that I say, oh, please bring me 3 potatoes. Oh, no, I need another potato. So the child get involved with what we are doing, instead of please go play outside. I'm busy cooking.
That's
I
it.
need to get
That's the
done.
problem.
Yeah.
So,
Actually,
so the parent change in their narratives. They don't with the time program. We do say set aside that 30 minutes or 25 minutes for the grade R, but generally every time, anywhere, any moment is a teaching time.
Yeah.
So I think in what I would like to end with is when we were saying like early means early. When I say early, I mean from the time the child is conceived.
Yes.
In the belly, rubbing the
Yes.
belly, talking to the child. Parents is the child's first teacher. That is so important. They need to know that even if they themselves were not educated or haven't gone very far, they're going to be teaching the child first. Whatever that child does first is learning from the parent. And every single word the parent says to the child, that word counts. The child does something wrong, your reaction to the child when something wrong is important. It's not just scowl or shout or the way you react is going to impact the child. So every single word you say count. Well done. But we're not always going to praise them because they do falter now and then.
Yeah.
So our reaction to them faltering. And then again, parents feel like, oh, I will never be able to do it. Every single parent is a champion of literacy for the child. You can do it anywhere, anyhow, anytime. And that's what we need, the message we'd like to send home to our parents.
Yeah, and on our website, you will if they want to email, I mean, you can email info@wordworks.org.za.
Yeah. Tell us, so it's www.wordworks.org.za and then it's info@wordworks.org.za.
Yeah, that's the email.
Okay,
email. And then the
awesome.
home literacy page is www.homeliteracy.org.za.
.za. Awesome. No, thank you so much, ladies. Wordworks is an awesome organization and made it grow from strength to strength. And I mean, you guys are doing this is, even as auntie and uncle or just Garth and Candace, we now will take this with us when we are engaging with other kids. It's
And now we
So
can tell
mind.
other parents now about it.
Exactly.
We had a chat with the Wordworks.
And
this
go
is
onto
what
their
they said,
website.
and go onto
if
the
you
website,
need
and
somehow. And as we in that age now where our friends is all having kids and things like that. So now we can share.
tell them and
Yeah.
share. Yes.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much.
So Garth and Candace, I mean, lounging with the Pearls, we didn't know what it was going to be about. But we have been to Google you guys too. So we really enjoyed this opportunity. And I want to say, I mean, from both Cheryl and I, and from Wordworks, and thank you to Andrea, who's our comms person, who actually
thank you,
elected us
Andrea.
to this. This has been a great opportunity to talk about our work. And I mean, there's as you just said now, we love talking about what we do because we know the value of what this means and what it does to parents. And ultimately, it's for the children.
No, ultimately for our next generation.
I love it. I feel so proud of it because, I mean, the one day I spoke to a parent and she said, whenever I just hear Wordworks, I think, oh, it's Christmas. We're getting something wonderful and exciting to do with our children. And, so...
And
that's the reaction that you want.
Life is so hard already. And so we speak about the responsibility of parents, but now we actually have parents that want to have this child, right? That's now responsible, that's doing all, but life becomes overwhelming. Bond payments, car payments, this. Now you still need to worry about school fees, and then the child starts growing. How do I engage? Because I already have a stressful job. So Wordworks is just making it so much easier to assist parents in teaching and preparing their child for the future. So thank you so much, ladies. And we will definitely be sharing your socials on our socials and all the links and all the info. And stay tuned, loungers, and we're signing off.
That's it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page as well. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. And we have a Mixcloud page.
Oh, Mixcloud as well.
So the podcasts are all available.
It's one of the best in entertainment and podcasting. So why not sit down with us and tell us your story? You are now tuned into Lounging with the Pearls.